What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Too Good for Theaters video. Today, we're going to be breaking down the New England Patriots 2026 NFL draft class, and of course, that means starting off with their first prospect taken. That would be, of course, Caleb Lomu, an offensive tackle out of Utah. And they actually traded up with the Buffalo Bills, a division rival, in order to make the selection. They traded the 31st overall and the 125th overall, which is a fourth-round selection, to move up 3 spots to the 28th overall pick. And the timing of this was not really a shock whatsoever. There was really a run of tackles several picks beforehand. So the Patriots clearly identified a tackle that they like, and they went up and got him. And for not too steep of an asking price, with that being a fourth-round selection, for everyone who's thinking, oh, do you really want to give up a fourth-round pick to jump up 3 spots? The Patriots have a plethora of late-round picks, so if they want to jump back into this fourth round, they certainly have the later round picks in this draft to do so. But enough of all that, let's get into Caleb Lomu. He is 21 years old, and he really is a developmental project at the tackle position. That's not to say that he wasn't proven at all during college, but he certainly has some traits that might lack the NFL level initially. However, I think that he's actually in a really good spot with the Patriots because the Patriots already have their 2 starting tackles on the outside already, of that being Will Campbell and Morgan Moses. And Caleb Lomu was playing left tackle for Utah. However, I would suspect that the Patriots are actually going to try and transition him over to the right side and maybe make him that swing tackle depth piece for his first season overall. But he would certainly be slated to start at the right tackle position once the Patriots do move on for Morgan Moses, because of course Morgan Moses is a veteran and he is in the latter portion of his career. So I can very much see the Patriots wanting Lomu to step into that right side. And for everyone who's making a big deal about the Patriots selecting another tackle, I wouldn't be that worried about having to transition Will Campbell to the inside. Of course, he struggled during that Super Bowl, and that's going to happen. However, the Patriots signed Elijah Vera-Tucker in the offseason to a long-term deal. So they want Will Campbell to stay on the outside, and the Patriots made it perfectly clear themselves, especially Mike Vrabel, Will Campbell's going to be that guy at the left tackle position. So Lomu is going to be that depth tackle piece for you right now, and that's going to give him time to develop in the areas where he really is lacking. And as I said before, Lomu's not going to be expected to take the field immediately here. So I think it's a win-win for the Patriots because it's not only adding a future piece to your offensive line, however, it's also helping with a big issue that you have right now, especially with some of the departures you've had during this offseason, which is your tackle depth. And having a guy like Lomu be that first guy off the bench for you, that swing tackle who can play on both sides, is really going to help your offense in terms of their depth. But also, Lomu's going to be developing in the background, especially under a key guy like Morgan Moses, who is a veteran, who clearly helped Will Campbell last year. And not only that, you're going to be expecting more growth from Will Campbell on that left side. And you're going to expect a more improved offensive line with some of the signings you made, like Elijah Vera-Tucker, and moving Jared Wilson back in the center, which was his college position. So hopefully all these pieces adding up is going to mean a better offensive line and more protection for Drake May. But moving into Lomu specifically here, I would say that he displays a lot of the same strengths and weaknesses that Will Campbell actually showed coming out of the draft last year. And the first thing that really stands out about Lomu is the potential that he has just due to his simple, raw athleticism. And he actually ranked top 10 in several offensive combine statistics. And what really got me intrigued was his broad jump and his 40 time, which was sub 5 for an offensive tackle. So this is someone who can get out and move, and scouts really rave about how good athletically he is from the tackle position. And that's certainly something that the Patriots, I'm sure, envision, especially with the speed that they have in their backfield, specifically Travion Henderson. I'm thinking right now an outside pitch play to the right side where Travion Henderson is running down the field after Lomu, who's already gotten into the second level there, and using his athleticism and his speed to even lead the block down the field. So that's certainly something that could get you excited as a Patriots fan. But scouts really raved about Lomu's first step, and it's not surprising how he's able to win a lot of his battles just due to the fact that he's sound fundamentally. But then when you add that athleticism in as well and a quick first step, it's going to be really difficult for him to get beat off the line, especially against some speed rushers. And with some of the picks earlier in this draft and a lot of the edges that were taken off this board, Lomu is a guy who can match up with some of those speed and outside rushers, and I'll talk about it a little later. And the area in which he needs to develop is really more so kind of his core strength and just adding some more LB. So he might struggle against some of the power rushers to start off, very similar to Will Campbell. But from a speed rushing standpoint, Lomu could kind of be that perfect type balance. And on the right side, you're going to more so experience a lot more of the power rushers than on the left side, where you might experience more of a blend of speed and power. So I think that Lomu developing behind Morgan Moses is certainly going to help, and I think the Patriots are certainly going to have him developing in that weight room. But that's what's so good about Lomu is once he develops into his body and adds some more LBs, gets stronger, and you pair that with his athleticism, there's not going to be really any type of true deficiency in his pass protection whatsoever. So that is a very encouraging sign, and that is a good sign that the Patriots have the ability to let him develop in the background right now and just get stronger, gain some LBs, and hopefully when he's ready, he's going to be a more complete tackle compared to how he is now, kind of one of those raw prospects. But really, I would just say the pluses of him right now is he's a very stable pass protector who's going to deal really well with speed rushers, as well as just his athletic ability, especially on the end line there at the tackle position. That's certainly something that's going to help him. But moving over to his deficiencies right now, a lot of his deficiencies are just based off his quote-unquote subpar core strength right now, just meaning he has to get stronger, as well as, stop me if you heard this before, a subpar arm length from the offensive tackle position. And as I said before, the scouts really notice that he does struggle at times against some of the power rushers, and when they're able to really get their arms into him, that's where he's going to struggle. He's going to be on the back pedal, and just when he makes up for that strength, gets stronger, I think that's really going to be when his body fills out. And when you leverage that, as I said before, with his athleticism, he's going to be very difficult to beat on that right side. But really the one issue that's holding him back from being a starter right now, I would say at the right tackle position, is just his subpar run blocking. And that was an area where the Patriots did struggle at times last year. They were very inconsistent in the run game. So getting another tackle out there who specifically struggles in the run blocking department is probably not ideal for them right now. But that's the good thing about development, and that's the good thing that the Patriots have going for him with Will Campbell and Morgan Moses both being placed in front of him on the depth chart. So hopefully he's going to be able to really add to his strength. He's going to develop and learn from the leadership that Morgan Moses displayed last year, in which we saw with Will Campbell. And hopefully everything that Morgan Moses kind of had done well for the Patriots is going to translate well down to Lomu once he is able to take over that right tackle starting position. Moving on, I kind of wanted to just wrap this video up with talking about some of his college statistics. Like I said before, he played mostly at left tackle. He actually took 800 left tackle snaps this year at Utah compared to only 18 at the right tackle position. He had a total offensive grade of 68.4, a run block grade of 62, and a pass block grade of 82.1. You can really see the discrepancy there. And of course, all these stats are coming from PFF. He took 359 pass protection snaps, where he only gave up 8 pressures, 6 hurries, 2 QB hits. It did not give up a single sack whatsoever. And throughout his entirety of his college career, he only gave up 2 sacks, 17 pressures, 9 hurries, and 6 QB hits. And that was in 765 pass protection snaps from the offensive perspective. So that is someone who's very, very reliable on the left side there. And of course, as I said before, I think the Patriots are going to try and move him over to that right side. So hopefully all that great pass protection skill is going to be able to move over to that right side. But as I said before, the key for Lomu for me is to develop as a run blocker, with it not only really being a deficiency for him right now, but also a deficiency for the team. So if he's able to improve upon that category, I think it's not only going to help himself with playing time, but it's also going to help highlight a deficiency in this team, and hopefully it will turn it more into a strength rather than a true deficiency. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm going to be wrapping up the rest of the Patriots draft class in the next couple of days. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.